Yo, thanks for coming again. It's another roof clean today. It's going to be an interesting one to film because it's kind of roof that I imagine a lot of roof cleaners would avoid just because of the nature of the tiles. You can see back there, but they are like corrugated tiles. I would call them corrugated, and it's not as nice as these flat tiles when you see online all the flat surface cleaners going over them dead smoothly. These are going to be a bit tricky because there is a risk to them that if you're not doing it properly, if you're not careful, you can potentially hit corners of tiles, more so than with flat tiles. Okay, I'll set the camera up properly as I'm working. Let's have a little look at the setup we've got going on. So first of all, got the scaff tower. That's as high as I'm having it. I'm not having sides on. You know, I'm not particularly high. I'm not falling off it. I've got a little ladder up here to get me up and down, and then I'm going to move over to this side afterwards. Okay. Now, something I like to do before I start with a roof clean, before I go up there and actually release the trigger, is get it set up down here first to the right pressure and water flow that it should be. I've shown in another video that for me, the right pressure and the right flow is just enough to keep the whole system floating, so you can practically hold it with one hand and no more than that. Looks like we've got a good water pressure here today, so I'm quite happy about that. So I'll fuel up, I'll set the camera up, and then we'll get some of this filmed. If it's not that obvious, what I'm doing here is just a very quick flyover with the drone, just to have a look at all the gaps, mainly on the ridge tails really, looking for all the pointing that might be missing. Obviously I'm going much slower than this in real life, but just anything that stands out to me that I might need to be aware of before I start. Okay, not huge adjustments to make, quite happy with that. This is also an opportunity for me to see where there's any potential leaks. Usually there's a lot going on here, so a little bit of a weak there. I didn't notice it spraying everywhere really when the pressure was on, and also when the pressure's on, those seals sort of lock into place anyway. So I'm going to set up with that up there for now. We'll start off up in the top corner, maybe over here actually. Sorry everybody, I'm afraid the camera steamed up at this little bit, so I'm going to move on from this section and then I'm just going to go over to the next part of the roof. It's a bit clearer, so hope you enjoy that.
able to do something like.
Right, done with the first section of roof, so you'll see on the drone in a second we've done basically this alcove here, okay, which will account for, I'd say, 2/3 of the main stretch of that roof. So I've had a clear up. I want to do the clear up now, so I'd have to think about it later. I can move on, and also it looks good as well for like the customers and that, you know, as you're going around, you're not leaving a trail of chaos behind you. So moving on to this section now, this corner. I am getting hungry. Let's see what the time is. I'm doing alright for time. What I want to achieve by the end of today is this corner, and then sort of the corner that's on the other side of there, and then I'm going to leave the far side because it's just one long stretch. I'm going to leave that for tomorrow and then do the biocidin as well. So if I finish early today, I'll nip off to get the biocide chemical. Little something on balancing your scaff tower. Look at that. So you can come up and do better. So I bring some little chocks of wood with me. First one. Okay, so that's not too bad, but tiny little bit down there, isn't there? So here's my little trade secret. Feather edge. A piece of feather edge. And get it exactly where you want to. That's good. well, it's going good. Annoyingly, the water's run out. Someone forgot to turn the tap on. So luckily, very good water pressure here though, so I won't be waiting too long. So you see, I've been trying a bit of a different method there. Rather than starting at the top and then working downwards with everything and then going back up to rinse, well, you can see what I did. I started at the bottom and then worked my way up, and then I'm at the top, and then I worked my way back down with the rinse. I think I like it doing it that way. I think I found it easier doing that than the normal way, I suppose. Start from the top and work down. So I'll do the next section like that. I think if I can get the rinse down to a T, like the methodology of that, wow, this method will be really good. Alright, well that's it. That's the end of day one. Quite a busy day. So I suppose I've done maybe just over half the roof. One side of the roof, but there was, what, 2 little dormers on it as well. So tomorrow's roof is going to be tomorrow's half of the roof is going to be quite straightforward. Just one flat side. Problem is I'm doing it from the neighbour's side, and their garage is covering about a third of the roof. I can't get access to about a third of the roof because they don't want me to walk on their garage roof. If I'm really lucky, I might be able to touch base with them tomorrow and have a conversation with them and just put their minds at ease about me walking on the roof. It'd be best if I could do that rather than having to reach over so far. But whatever, you know, I've not been beaten by a roof yet, so we'll make it work. So things have gone good today. Very happy with the result, because these were tiles that, yeah, they're pretty old, they're pretty delicate. I think if I was to do my normal method of climbing up and brushing and scraping, then yeah, maybe a tile or two, no, not two, maybe a tile could have got cracked. I don't really crack, it's not really a thing. I've probably cracked a handful over the years, but even so, when you're working with delicate tiles, it's like, what's the best way to do it? Pressure washing or get on there? Anyway, no damage done by today, so I'm quite happy with that. Just been to Chelford now to pick up the biocide, which I'll be using is MMC Pro. I've used it in the past, it's fine. Yeah, no callbacks. Results are good. I'll be honest, all the biocides I've used maybe 3 or 4 different types. They're all good. As long as you don't take the mickey on the dilution, yeah, they're all pretty good. So just off home now. Gotta get the water-fed pole, the electrics, back up and running. I took the pump out of the van the other week, and because my big pump is broken, basically, I need to put a new relay switch on it or something. But as part of that, my little pump that I pump the chemical on with, that's also off in the shed, so I just need to get that back together. And then yeah, tomorrow, big side of the roof, and then biociding, and then back home for tea and medals. Anyway, right, as ever, if you've made it this far, I'm surprised, but thank you very much. And see you for the next one.